Preamble of the Constitutions. Unity and integrity of the nation's word. Which amendment of the Constitution was Bodo, Dongri and Maithili inserted in the 8th schedule of the Constitution? 92nd Amendment. 8th schedule. 92nd Amendment. Bodo, Dongri. Dongri, Maithili. Which article of the Constitution states that there shall be Council of Ministers at the head of a by the President who shall in exercise of his functions? Article 74. Following provision of defense state is Article 12. Strength of Panchayat Raj in India was 73rd Amendment 1992. Class legislation. What does Article 14 prohibit? Class legislation. Article 4 equal classifications. Promotion. Article 14 prohibit equality. Class legislation. कही जा माने स्टोरी and in which of the following case the Supreme Court held that BCCI was not financially, functionally or administratively dominated by the government, nor was it under the control of government. Therefore, it was not a state. G Telefilm Limited versus Union of India, year 2005. Administratively dominated by the government. Which of the following provision of the Constitution of India relate to doctrine of level playing field? To participate in any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. So India relates to doctrine of level playing field means to practice any profession or to carry on any occupations. The provision that men and women have right to an adequate means of livelihood is a part of the principle of state policy. Provision that men and women have right to an adequate means of livelihood. Right to an adequate means of livelihood. The principle of state policy. To an adequate means of livelihood. Which of the following provision of the Constitution of India mandate that state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children age of 6 to 14 years in such manner as the state may provide free and compulsory education to all children. Article 21A to the of the age of 6 to 14, which order is not included in the definition of decree. Decree means order allowing relief to plaintiff, order to rejection of plaintiffs, order as to determination of any question within section 144 of CPC. Rejection of plaintiffs, where will be filed suit for partition of immovable property of worth 12,000. The Court of Civil Judge Junior Division. The second appeal shall be lie from any decree when the subject matter of the original suit is for recovery of money not exceeding. No second appeal shall be lie any decree. Subject matter of the original suit is for recovery of money not exceeding 25,000. The second appeal shall lie no second appeal. Original suit for recovery of money exceeding 25,000. The rule of conclusiveness of a judgment which is partly based on the maximum interest republicate seats finis litium is found in which section? Section 11. Rule of conclusiveness of judgment, which is partly based on the maxim interest republic. Section 11. Under which of the following situations suit will be defeated? Non-gender of necessary parties. Necessary parties non-gender. Constructive res judicata is content. Explain IV of section 11 of CPC. Constructive res judicata. Which of the following circumstances does not ordinarily allow amendment of pleadings after the trial has commenced? After the trial has commenced. How many adjournment may be allowed to parties to suit during the hearing of suits? 3. How many adjournment may be allowed to parties? 3 adjournment. Ordinarily allow amendment of pleadings after the trial has commenced. Which of the following fact is not required to be proved to grant temporary injunction? Balance of inconvenience. Temporary injunction. Balance of inconvenience. Which of the following fact is not required? Grant temporary injunction. Balance of inconvenience. Which of the following section of the CPC deals with the power of a Supreme Court to transfer suit, appeals, or other proceeding from a High Court in one to High Court? Another state. 25. Section. To grant temporary injunction. Balance of inconvenience. Actually, balance of inconvenience not required. And a prima facie required. Grant temporary injunction. Irreparable loss of injury, loss or injury. Balance of convenience. FR is not a substantive evidence used during the trial to corroborate the informant to contradict the informant. FR is a substantive evidence. Corroborative informant, contradict informant. No member of the armed forces of the Union shall be arrested for anything purported to be done by him in the charge of his official duties, except after training the consent of training, central government, or purported to be done by him in the discharge of his official duties, except after obtaining the consent of central government. Within the meaning of the provision, section 2D of CRPC complaint does not include police report.